welcome to another episode of By Kids for Kids Storytime.
The Purple Gorilla. A young boy was out riding his bike. He decided to explore a bit, get away from the same old paths he'd always ridden on. He happily whistled to himself as he turned down a quiet old back road. Then he saw a turnoff he'd never noticed before.
Interesting.
He thought,
Might as well go take a look what's down there.
and as he was riding, the road got rougher and rougher and gloomier and gloomier. Heavy clouds started to gather overhead. In an instant, lightning struck, and a torrent of rain drenched the poor boy. Just as he was about to turn around and race home, he saw a light up ahead. So he thought,
Maybe I could just stand on somebody's porch until the rain dies down. Or maybe, with a bit of luck, I'll find some nice people there who could call my parents to come pick me up.
he dragged his bike up the steps of the porch and took a moment to catch his breath as the rain came hammering down. He noticed a sign on the door that said,
Welcome.
in big letters and in small letters.
Come in.
He thought to himself. He leaned his bike up against the wall and tried the door. It was unlocked. He pushed it open rather nervously and stepped inside. Inside was a fairly ordinary little kitchen with a fridge, a table with a bunch of purple flowers on it, and a chair. There was a book on the table. He started reading it. It said,
This place is for people in need, like you, dear traveler. You may do anything you want here. Eat, sleep, relax. Except for one thing. Do not enter the door behind you.
The boy slowly turned, and there, behind him, was a heavy metal red door, bolted shut, that had a sign that said,
Keep out.
well, this story would be happily over if he simply did what the mysterious book had told him. But no, his curiosity got the better of him. He approached the ominous door and used both hands to heave back the bolts. He pushed the heavy door open. Behind it, there was a long flight of stairs going down.
This is creepy.
He thought to himself. He walked down the stairs and heard the metal door slam behind him. At the bottom of the stairs was a sturdy blue door with a sign that said,
No admittance. This means you.
Again, the silly boy opened this door. And behind it was another flight of stairs going down. As he went down these stairs, again the door slammed shut behind him. He got to the bottom of the stairs, and there was a yellow steel door with a huge old padlock, and hanging from a hook, a huge old key. The sign on this door said,
Go away. This is your last chance.
He took the key and opened the lock, and the door slowly swung open, revealing a great big room. In the middle of the room was a large metal cage. In the cage was a giant purple gorilla sitting on a stool, looking down with its arms folded. It appeared to be lost in its own thoughts and had not noticed the boy at all. On the bars of the cage was a big sign.
Do not feed the gorilla. You have been warned.
There was a pile of bananas next to the cage. The boy couldn't resist temptation. He threw one in, and without looking up, the gorilla caught it. He peeled it and ate it. Then, with a heavy sigh, folded his arms and continued to sit in silence.
I don't see what the problem is,
Thought the boy.
Maybe I'll try talking to him.
So he said,
Excuse me, Purple Gorilla, are you okay? Why are you locked in this cage?
The boy didn't really expect the purple gorilla to talk back. And of course, he didn't. He just sat there on a stool with his arms folded, gazing into the distance. Feeling bolder, the boy giggled naughtily and jiggled about in front of the cage, pulling a face. But the purple gorilla took no notice at all.
I wonder.
The boy thought to himself. He squeezed himself against the bars of the cage and stretched his arm through to touch the gorilla. It didn't even look at him. He stretched and stretched until his fingertips just touched the gorilla. In an instant, the gorilla sprang to its feet and let out an ear-splitting roar. Then it stomped towards the walls of the cage, grabbed the bars, and began to bend them apart. Terrified, the boy turned around and started running away. He got to the yellow door and saw there was a sign on it that said,
Told you so.
He threw the door open and turned back to see that the gorilla had bent the bars completely open. He sprinted up the stairs to the blue door. Help! The sign on this door said,
Don't say we didn't warn you.
He opened it, and as he did so, looked back to see the purple gorilla roaring and charging towards him. He ran up the next flight of stairs. He could hear the gorilla breathing behind him. He got to the last door, and the sign on this one said,
This is your own fault.
He desperately opened it, and as he did so, looked back behind him, and there was the purple gorilla. And he was getting really, really, really close. He hurtled through the house and out onto the porch. The door slammed behind him and burst open again immediately. Smashed into pieces. He jumped on his bike, rode for his life down the muddy road. The bike slipped in the mud, and the terrified boy fell into a puddle. He looked up, and there was the gorilla, leaning over him. It reached out its big purple hairy hand. It came so close to the boy's face, he could smell rotten banana fumes wafting up his nose. The hand came closer and tapped him on the shoulder. And the gorilla said,
Tag, you're it.
Thank you for listening to this episode of By Kids for Kids Storytime, performed by
Magimajura
and Max and Ruby Jews.
Hey guys, if you like this episode, please share it with your friends and family. It is one of the best ways to support BKFK Storytime.